Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Raid Shadow Legends video, I want to talk about the Deck of Fate events and specifically pinning cards in Deck of Fate events. When should you pin cards, when should you not pin cards in Deck of Fate events? Let's find out. First, thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video, and not only are they sponsoring this video, they also gave me a phenomenal promotional link to download the game. So if you want to create a new Raid Shadow Legends account, use my link down below in the description or through the QR code, and you will get Deacon Armstrong after the tutorial, Uugo at level 15, Tagoar at level 20, and Zargala at level 30, the best possible start that you can get to the game. But the main topic is Deck of Fate. So Deck of Fate basics. Deck of Fate is this event where there's these 40 cards that you can flip. You earn some currency by doing activities in the game, and with that currency you can flip open cards, and then cards will give you rewards. And specifically they will give you Fate chests if you can roll a streak of 3. Not every Deck of Fate allows you to pin cards, so sometimes you just have to roll a natural streak of 3, but sometimes you're allowed to pin cards. So pinning cards means that flipping over a lower rarity card will not break your streak. Flipping over a higher rarity card will still break your streak, but then you can pin that card instead if you so choose. You still need to find 3 cards of the same rarity in order to get a Fate chest. Typically the 40 card deck consists of 15 commons, 14 rares and 11 epics. And there are some major differences between the Fate chests. The epic chest is 3 times or more the value of the common chest. The rare chest is at least twice the value of the common chest. So you really want to get some of those higher tier chests. I tried to find analysis of this problem already on the internet, but I couldn't really find any. The only real advice I could find was to pin all epics. But that is actually also a little bit inconclusive advice, because if you flip over all 40 cards, then the logic is quite simple in the sense that if you pin any epic that you see, then you are guaranteed to get 3 epic chests. There are 11 epics in the deck. You need to open 9 of them in order to get 3 epic chests, and well, you will when you always pin an epic when you see one. However, what that advice is typically missing is that you also want to pin any rares. Because if you pin any rares, that increases your probability to also get some rare chests. And it does not decrease your probability to get epic chests at all, because once you roll an epic, then your streak is reset and you can pin that epic instead. What about other scenarios? Well, the Deck of Fate, even though you are choosing the card to flip, it's still basically a deck. You can treat it like a deck. And when you talk about probabilities with decks, we use hypergeometric distribution. So distribution where items are removed from the pool as they are revealed and leaving a smaller pool behind. We could also use negative hypergeometric, but I mostly use the positive hypergeometric distribution. I have this excellent calculator that I use from StatTrak that I have used for card games as well. So you can enter the population size, so the number of cards left. You can enter the number of desired cards left, the number of cards that you want to draw, and the number of successes that you need, and you will get the probability to get enough hits. Obviously this does not account for a rare streak where that can be broken by an epic, but overall this gives you a fairly good idea of what is going on in any specific situation. There's a link down below in the description if you want to use the calculator just when you have already flipped open some cards and you want to calculate everything. When we look at the odds of a triple without pinning, we can see that the odds of a triple is actually quite low. So if you open with a common, the first card you flip over is a common, then you have a 12.3% chance to open 2 more commons so that you can get the streak of 3 commons. If the first card you flip open is a rare, then you have a 10.5% chance to get 3 rares. If you open with an epic, then you have a 6.1% chance to get a streak of epics. So these odds of getting those Fate chests, they are not that great. You cannot pin common cards, so we could discuss what about pinning a rare card. So if we open up with a rare, we have a 10.5% chance to get a streak of rares. So let's say I pin that rare, then my next card, this is from the start of the deck, so it's either going to be a common 38.5% of the time, rare 1/3 of the time, or an epic 28.2% of the time. So if we pinned that rare, if we open an epic, obviously the streak is broken, but we open a common 38.5% of the time. So that pin just saved our streak 38.5% of the time. And then that obviously repeats. we hit a common, now there's fewer commons in the pool, so the probability of commons is decreased a little bit. Again, common, rare, or epic. Again, the pin has saved our streak quite likely. And then sometimes we hit 3 commons in a row, and now that we had pinned the rare, we don't get the chest for 3 commons in a row. But the probability to get a common chest from this opener is only around 5%. So we're missing out on that common chest 5% of the time. However, thanks to our pin, our probability to pick up a rare chest has actually increased from 10.5% to 14.1%. So that's a 3.6 percentage points improvement. And because picking up a rare chest is more than twice the value of a common chest, and we're not giving up nearly that much of our odds, then that means that this trade-off is very profitable. So pinning a rare is worth it. We can also pin epics, and we already know that if we want to open all of the cards, we want to pin all of the epics to guarantee 3 epic chests. But what if we're not opening all of the cards? Well, if first card we flip open is an epic, we have a 6.1% chance to get a streak of epics. An epic streak cannot be broken. Once we pin an epic, we're in it for good. Until we open 3 epics, there will be no fate chest for us, but if we manage to get 3 epics, then we're going to get the epic fate chest. So how fast can we get an epic fate chest? Here is a cumulative probability curve to find 2 more epics after our first card has been an epic. Obviously, if our second or third card has been the first epic, then the probability is actually a little bit better because there are fewer commons and rares in the pool, so it only gets better from here. This is the worst case scenario. And the cumulative probability to find 2 more epics, 6.1% after 2 more draws, as I mentioned. 15.6, 26.7, 38.1, 49, 59. So around 7 draws is what it typically takes to find an epic. But obviously it can take a long time because you could have the very last 10 cards remaining in the deck could be epics. So yeah, there is that. But overall, 7-ish draws, and you're going to probably find an epic. And the more you draw, the better your odds, of course, are. So it's not unreasonable to find an epic chest, even if you open only a quarter of the deck or a third of the entire deck. So pinning an epic, going for that epic chest, which is really valuable, is always also a good move. So the main guideline actually turned out to be rather easy. If we don't pin everything, we lose an insignificant number of lower rarity chests, but the expected value of the higher rarity chests that we are going to get easily makes up for that, and we turn in a profit. So you should always pin. Always pin all rares, always pin all epics, and that's the proper way to play Deck of Fate. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.